Hello there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Samantha and this is my channel where I talk all about books. Anyway, today I'm coming to you with a video that I have been meaning to do for a very long time, and I actually ended up doing it last night, spur of the moment. So yes, this was quite unplanned in the end. In today's video, I'm going to be reorganizing these bookshelves right behind me. Anyway, I have been meaning to reorganize my bookshelves for ages because I had some books that I wanted to unhaul, and I also had hauled in quite a few, which just hadn't really made it to the right spot yet. And I thought I'll just leave it and then eventually I will film this bookshelf reorganization, but it wasn't happening. And also I kept on just dumping random stuff onto my bookshelf, so it was very messy. We finally tidied it yesterday. We've been doing a lot of reorganization and we ended up deciding that we wanted to get rid of this really horrible plastic chest of drawers that we have in our room and replace it with another byeeee bookcase. So yeah, I have like a narrow byeeee bookcase right here. So yeah, that one's like half the width of this one, but it's actually a bit deeper, like from front to back, which is a bit annoying, but I think it actually looks fine. And honestly, I'm already so much happier with the way that the room looks just by switching out that horrible plastic chest of drawers and putting this one in instead. It looks so much better. I'm so happy. And the reorganization is going really well. But all of that rambling is just to say that yesterday we ended up having to take off most of the books from the bookshelf to move it and put this other bookcase where this one is, or sorry, where this one was. So anyway, we had to take everything off to be able to move it. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna film this video completely spur of the moment. And yeah, anyway, so we're just gonna cut to the footage from last night. I did forget to use a microphone yesterday, so apologies, but as I said, it was very last minute. So anyway, I'm just gonna roll the clip from last night and I will see you later.
Hello, I was not planning to film today, which is why I look like a mess, and also I do not sound very healthy because I've been a little bit sick. I was like sick over the weekend, ended up not going to work on Monday, and then yesterday was Tuesday, I went to work. Today's Wednesday, it's my day off anyway, and I'm actually off the rest of the week because I just decided to take that time off. Anyway, I've been meaning to reorganize my bookshelves for ages, and it just hasn't happened because I keep on thinking, oh, I want to film it, so I need to wait until, you know, I look nice, and I don't look nice. And here we are. Books are everywhere at the moment, and I want to organize them, but I also have some new books that I've acquired recently, and I also have some books to unhaul. So we've got a few different parts to this. So I'm actually gonna start off by unhauling some books because I have a little pile right next to me which are to go. So the first one I've got is one that I talked about in my most recent haul, After Alice by Gregory Maguire. We were getting rid of this at the library and I rescued it, but actually the reviews are so bad that I don't even want to try, so I'm getting rid of this one. I'm also getting rid of 1984 by George Orwell. I DNF'd this book and I don't want to read it ever. In my last unhaul, I mentioned not being sure about these two books, which are Days of Blood and Starlight and Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor, and I wasn't sure if I was going to pick them up again. It's not going to happen, so I'm getting rid of these. I will keep Daughter of a Smoking Bone though, because I do love the cover and I really like that book, but yeah, the series is not for me, so I'm getting rid of these books for now. I found some more unhaul books. I recently reread Divergent by Veronica Roth. I have been holding on to this book for such a long time because this book used to mean so much to me. This is like the first ever book that I read and like shared with my friends, and we all read it and loved it at the same time. However, I reread it and did not enjoy it, and I won't be rereading it again. So I feel like it kind of ruined it for me a little bit. Obviously, I still have those really fond memories attached to this book, but I just don't need to keep it. I don't need to keep it. I don't need to explain myself. Similar vein, I'm getting rid of The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I didn't dislike my reread of this book, but I'm just not going to read it again. And then I DNF'd Grown Ups by Marianne Keyes, and I will not be going back to it, so this is going too. And then I'm also going to be getting rid of Down and Out in Paris and London by George Orwell. I have not read this one, but I feel like I'm not going to enjoy it very much, so I'm just going to get rid of it as well. And then I'm also getting rid of Force of Nature by Jane Harper. Not because I didn't enjoy this. I actually really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars, but I don't personally see the point in really owning thrillers because I'm never gonna reread it. But I got this from the library for free because we were getting rid of it, so got it, read it, and I really enjoyed it, but I'm not gonna hold on to it. So these are going too. I also have another book to unhaul. I'm also gonna get rid of Looking for Alaska by John Green because I was planning to reread this because I read this before I started booktube, but I'm just not going to reread it. I don't want to. I don't want to know. I don't actually want to know anymore, so I'm getting rid of this one. And then in terms of the book haul, I have quite a few. So one book that I got is Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. This is the third book in the Nevermore series, which I think was like originally a trilogy and has now been expanded, although the fourth book keeps on getting pushed back, so we haven't had it yet. I'm not caught up, and I actually don't own the second book, so I need to go out and buy the second book. But I really, really want to reread Nevermore. I read it in 2020, I think, and I haven't continued on yet, so that's my plan for the fall, is to reread Nevermore and continue on with the series. But again, we were getting rid of this at the library, and I snatched it up because I was like, well, this is a hardcover in really good condition, and I, really want to read this series, so I'm going to take that, of course. And then some more books that I got from the library. I actually picked up The Dry by Jane Harper, which is actually the first book in that series, which The Force of Nature is the second book in that series. It doesn't really matter because it's all, the main continuation is the detective, so it doesn't really matter. I read the second book first, but anyway, this book is actually falling apart. Like, first, 10 pages are literally coming out of the book. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna put it in the recycling because obviously we can't do anything with this. So don't know what this is about. All I know is it's a thriller book and I enjoyed the first one. Sorry, I enjoyed the second one, so hope I enjoy the first one. I also picked up My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I can't entirely remember the synopsis, but I remember this getting a lot of buzz. I know it's a really difficult read about a woman who has this relationship with a teacher and she kind of doesn't really think about how that was bad until after the fact, and then it's her reflecting on that and kind of realizing, oh, that was like an abusive relationship. I wouldn't say I'm excited to read it, but I do want to read it at some point. I also got The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn. Again, these are all books that the library was getting rid of, so I rescued them from the recycling. I love The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. I read The Alice Network and I didn't love it, and I actually tried to read this a few years ago, and oh, actually it was last year. What am I saying? This book came out last year. I tried to read this last year. I really couldn't get into it. I was trying to read it on my phone and I was also on holiday, so I feel like that kind of impacted it. So I want to give this another go. And then I also got Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I read Normal People years ago and I've been meaning to read this one for a while. I just never got around to it. And now that I actually own it, I can read it at some point. And then one that I'm actually really excited about as well is Away with the Penguins by Hazel Pryor. I don't know what this is all about, but I'm pretty sure it's about like this grumpy old lady who likes to be by herself. And then she goes on this journey and finds a bunch of penguins. I think it's something along those lines, and I really love penguins, so I'm really excited about this. And I also am grumpy and like to be alone, so yeah, it's like the perfect book for me. And then, most excitingly, from the library, we were getting rid of a copy of Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, which is my favorite book of the year so far, although I'm currently reading a contender. But yes, Lessons in Chemistry, I love this book with all of my heart. And we were getting rid of this copy, so I was like, I'll snatch that up. It's not in the best condition, but at least I own it for now, and I can always buy a nicer copy if I want to. So those need to find a place on the shelf. And then I also recently picked up 3 books when I went book shopping with my friend Evie. And I did vlog that, so I will link that vlog up in the card in case you want to go check it out. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever made. So yeah, my TBR grew by a few books. I picked up She Who Became the Sun by Kelly Parker Chan, and actually the sequel of this book comes out in August, so I really need to get on it. I also picked up 2 nonfiction books. I got Mother Tongue, The Surprising History of Women's Words by Jenny Nuttall, and I also got Butts, A Backstory by Heather Radke, which I'm so excited about. It's a nonfiction book about butts, and I'm really excited to read it. Completely unironically, I'm really excited to read this book. That's my haul, and now we need to find places for all these books. So the way I did it before was I had TBR on the top 2 shelves, and then the rest was all books that I've read before, and I kind of did it by genre, and I think I'm going to keep it that way, but we just have to reorganize because obviously I've had more books come in and I've had some books leave. So yes, I'm gonna go get some of the books and we can start organizing. I've gathered all of my TBR books, bar one, which lives with a different series, so it doesn't go on the TBR section of the shelf, but let's get cooking. Okay, it's been a little while. The shelves are actually complete for now, although I'm thinking I might switch things up. I don't know. I'm gonna sleep on it and decide tomorrow. However, I did actually find another book that I wanted to get rid of, which is Just Listen by Sarah Dessen. I actually read this book a long time ago. It was the first year I started my channel, so it would have been 2014. And I really, really enjoyed this book. And I've been meaning to reread it for a really long time, but it just hasn't happened. And I don't think I'm going to reread it. From what I remember, it was a really good book. It's basically about sexual assault, and it was something I had never read about before, and it was kind of one of the first like hard-hitting contemporaries that I'd read, and I really, really enjoyed it. But I just don't think I'm gonna reread it. After all, I don't see myself rereading this anytime soon. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I do still have a little bit of space at the bottom, which is always nice. But I think I might switch it up and move the TBR books to lower down, because then when I'm filming, you're just gonna see the TBR books instead of the books that I love. So I don't know. I'm conflicted. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I'm gonna come back tomorrow and wrap up this video. But for now, good night.
But anyway, yes, so these are the reorganized shelves as you saw. I was going to do a bit of a tour, but I think I'm just going to explain how I've organized it and not go through like book by book, because personally, that's not my favorite type of bookshelf tour to watch. So yes, I'm going to just show you around the bookshelves. Hello, you can barely see me. I'm quite short. Anyway, so the way that I have organized it is I have my TBR at the top and also most of this shelf, but actually ends here. So I don't have an enormous TBR, although it has grown quite a lot in not that much time, which is not great. So that's all TBR. And then we start into like my red books, and then that goes all the way down pretty much. So just behind my Polaroid camera, we have the nonfiction TBR. I've only got 4 nonfiction books that I want to read, like own physically, and then I've got some classics. Then we move into historical fiction, which is kind of this section here, and I've decorated it very nicely with this genuine gold leaf crown that I got in Athens. Genuine in the fact that I did actually buy it in Greece, but nothing else about it is genuine. This is also the most uncomfortable headband to wear because it will get caught in your hair. So 0 out of 10 would not recommend buying one of these. However, I do think it's very cute, and I had to when I was in Greece, you know? But I have a few like Greek myth retelling stuff. That's why I thought that fit really perfectly up there. More historical fiction. Then we have some thriller and crime books. Actually, the rest of this is thriller and crime. I also have this little Amsterdam snow globe. It does not want to focus on it. And I also have this little S. This is like a little resin S for Samantha, obviously, with little flowers in it. One of my best friend's sisters-in-law, she has a resin company thing, and she made us all keychains for when because we lived together at university. So yeah, we all had these beautiful matching keychains, and mine broke. So I just now have it up here. Moving down to the rest of the TBR. So behind this little light up S that I have, which a friend of mine gave me a few years ago. Behind that, we have the fantasy TBR, which is quite a big chunk actually of the TBR. I also have this little pink flower crown from Mexico. When I lived in Mexico and I went to Oaxaca for Dia de los Muertos, and I bought this, and I am going to keep it because it's so pretty. Then we have sort of like contemporary fiction, I'm calling it. That's all the TBR. And then I've done a similar sort of genre format in the organization of the red books. So first of all, we have some nonfiction and poetry. Behind that, we have classics and then historical fiction. I also have my bookmark jar. This is actually a candle that I burned, and I just like the jar. And now it holds my bookmarks. It's perfect. I also have a candle on here, which smells like Abercrombie and Fitch. It's amazing. Oh, it smells like a man. Like a nice smelling man. On top of that, I just have this little stone turtle, which I think my fiance bought when we were in Mexico, or like they gave it to us for free when we bought other stuff. Anyway, he was gonna throw it away, and I was like, actually, he sits so nicely on top of the candle. And then we have a continuation of nonfiction, but nonfiction that I have read. One singular crime book that I've read and held on to, because I normally unhaul crime after I read it, because to me there's no point in owning it because I'm not going to reread it. But this was given to me, so I'm going to keep it for now. Then I have some sci-fi. We don't have any sci-fi in the TBR, but yes, we've got a sci-fi section. The Martian, of course, 2 copies, my favorite book. The Illuminae files. Oh, why am I going over the books? I said I wasn't going to do that. Okay, anyway, and then we have a picture of my family, my in-laws here, and then we move into fantasy over here. We've got some standalone fantasies and some first books in a series where I haven't read the rest of the series, or I'm not going to, but I like the first book. So anyway, that's that shelf. Let's move down. Now we have fantasy continued, because apparently that is most of what I own. So here we have a shit ton of Sarah J Maas. And then, oh, sorry, that does not belong there. That is because I lotioned my legs after my shower. I have this ridiculously long spoon because that is my fiance's. He is a mixologist and he has a bunch of like bar stuff, which we now have in our house. And I don't know what to do with it, and it's too long to fit on the other shelves, so it's gonna stay here for now. We have a V. Schwab collection, some children's books, this little magnet which has a penguin on it which says I'm fucking freezing because my fiance and I have a thing about penguins. So anyway, love that magnet, but we don't have anywhere magnetic to put it yet, so it lives on the bookshelf. This is such a good angle for me. Continuing down, we have the rest of the children's books that I own, which is just Nevermore. Then we have a random contemporary YA contemporary fiction book, which is Clap When You Land. Amazing book. Then we have all my Cassandra Clare books that I own. I do not have a complete series of the Infernal Devices or this one, the Chain of Gold one, whatever that series is called. I don't know why. I really should buy the rest of this series. I'm also missing City of Lost Souls, if you have noticed. I just have not bought it yet, and I really should because it's been years. Anyway, and then I have the rest of my sort of contemporary fiction. To All the Boys I Loved Before, one of my favorite series. Brown Sisters trilogy. The Love Hypothesis, the only Ali Hazelwood I have liked to date. And then down here, I just have some more young adult contemporary. Oh, my legs are killing me. Oh, that squat position has really killed my legs. I am now squatting on the floor to film this outro right now because I cannot be bothered to move my tripod up and down again. Anyway, that is all that I have for this video. So I hope you liked it. I really like watching people's bookshelf reorganization videos. So I hope you enjoyed watching this one as much as I enjoyed doing it and as much as I enjoy watching other people's. But yes, that is all that I have for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give a thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below and I will have another video up hopefully next week. So I'll see you then. Bye. My legs are killing me. In the backyard of your old farm in the summer.